So, a little recap again. So, in the past episodes, I have introduced you to this comprehensive problem where Baby G wanted to invest every end of the year to afford the following. So, we have again a car worth 1.5 million at the end of year 5 and a house worth 1 million at the end of year 4 and a capital fund of 1 million for a business venture at the end of the third year, and lastly 500,000 at the end of year 4 as a wedding fund. Now, we have already solved the amount for the investment per year and it's 730,645 per year. And we also have proven that it's correct using the timeline. And I also introduced you to an alternative solution using the future value ordinary annuity instead of just using the present value ordinary annuity. Okay? So I hope you can still remember. So in today's video, we are going to answer the 5 original questions that were given related to this comprehensive problem. And here they are. But let's start answering them only one by one after this short intro. So, let's start with the first question, which is how much must be the uniform investments per month? Well, this is easy because this is supposed to be 730,645, which is the amount that we have computed, right? But the twist is this. This 730,645 is the investment per year, right? And the question is asking for the investments per month. So, we still have to divide it by 12. And we will get 60,887 if we do that per month, which is this letter C. So, that's the only twist for this question. So, if this is the end of month 1, then Baby G should invest 60,887 per month for 5 years beginning here in order to afford all these 4 items here in this comprehensive problem. Okay? So that's question number 1. Now, let's have question number 2, which is how much will be the total of his funds, Baby G's funds, after 3 years before he funded the business venture. So this is also easy, right? Because we can already see it here in the timeline. So the balance here at the end of year 3 is 1,371,966. However, again, this is not the answer that we are looking for because this balance has already been deducted by 1 million by Baby G to fund the business venture. And the question wants the balance before the deduction, right? So this is not the answer. So what do we do? Of course, you need to add back the 1 million. And we will have 2,371,966, which is this letter D. Okay? Now, that became easy and possible because we completed the timeline, right? And I told you before, I am discouraging you to always answer with a timeline because it's time consuming, especially if we are talking about long maturity terms. But guys, there is an exception for me. Let me be honest, okay? When I was still a student, if the time value of money problems has a maturity term of less than 10 years, I always make the timeline and I always complete it, especially if the problem has a lot of questions, like this comprehensive problem that we have now, because there are 5 questions related to this. And for me, it's worth it, and the reliability of the answers can be checked if we use the timeline, right? But if the problem, for me, if the problem is consist of only of 1 to 2 questions and the maturity term is very long, I won't use and complete the timeline. Which brings us to the question, can we solve this question? Can we get the answer without completing the timeline? Answer? Of course. Okay, first, let's cover this up. Okay? So as if we did not complete the timeline and we have no intention to complete it. Okay? So we just made this timeline to plot our understanding, and here's our understanding. Okay? Now, what do we do next? Actually, you can always have this again. So payments times future value factor equals the future value amount. So this formula format is always used in solving time value of money problems. Actually, you always need this formula in getting the future value, and this format also for getting the present value. Okay? So although in the present value, there are differences, but it's very similar to this one. Although this here will become present value factor when we talk about present value, and this here will become present value amounts. Anyways, my point is they are similar. This format is always needed when computing for time value of money problems. Okay? Anyways, let's continue. We have the payments already, which we have solved in the previous episodes, 730,645. Okay? So let's use that. And the future value ordinary annuity, which is 1.08. But the n, let's adjust it, okay? So instead of putting here 5, let's put here 3. Because what we need to know is the value of the investment of baby G after 3 years. Okay? And then minus 1, and then divide it by 0.08. Okay? So if we compute this, then we're going to get the factor 3.2464 times the 730,645, and we will get 2,371,966, which is the same with this one. Okay? So some might say that this is a shortcut method, and I agree. Because imagine if the comprehensive problem states that instead of this, baby G is to invest 730,645 per year for, let's say, 30 years. And then the question is, how much is the balance of the investment at the end of, let's say, end of year 23? So using this format, you can change the n only to 23 and you're gonna get the answer already, instead of drawing a timeline and starting from year 1. So again, I agree that this is a shortcut, and that's another proof that you really need to master the usage of this format and the formulas for getting the present value factor and the future value factors. Okay? So the present value or future value of 1, the ordinary annuity, and annuity due. Okay? So that's it for question number 2. Now, let's go to question number 3 after this. So, now, let's go to question number 3. So, it's very similar to the question number 2, which is how much will be the total of baby G's funds or investments after 3 years. But after he funded the business venture. So that's the only twist, and that's the difference only with question number 2 versus this question number 3. Okay? So it's easy. Now that we have this timeline, it's this one immediately. Okay? So that's immediately letter C. Now, what if you did not complete this timeline? So the solution that you're going to make is still the same with the solution in the question number 2 previously. But since it's after the withdrawal of business funds, then we deduct 1 million. And we will get 1,371,966. Okay? So that's still letter C. Now, let's go to question number 4. So, question number 4 is, how much will be the total of BBG's funds after 4 years before he will use the funds for wedding and a small house? Take note, it's before this and this. So you just have to add this 1,481,723 plus 730,645, and you will get 2,212,368, which is this letter B. Or you can add back. So from this 700,000 plus this 500,000, and plus this 1 million, then you are still going to get 2,212,368. Okay? But the same question as before. How do we solve this without completing the timeline? Okay? Let's see. Again, we just need the payments times the future value factor. But now, let's have the n of 4. Okay? Instead of 3. Because again, we need to find the investment balance of baby G at the end of the 4th year. So now, if we solve this, we will get a factor of 4.506112 times the 730,645 equals 3,292,368. Now, it's not the same with this one, right? So the reason it's because what we got here is the investment balance at the end of year 4 without considering any deductions. Meaning, it did not consider the 1 million which was withdrawn at the end of year 3. Okay? So, we need to consider that. And we need to deduct that. But here's the twist. We cannot deduct 1 million only. Because actually, it's not 1 million already. Because it's already after the end of year 4. Meaning, it has already grown. Meaning, 1 million is the amount at the end of year 3. Now, since we need to deduct it at the end of year 4, we need to actually multiply it by 1.08 to get its value at the end of year 4. Okay? And if we do that, it will become 1,080,000. And that's the amount that you need to deduct from here. And if you do that, then we will already get the 2,212,368, which is the same with this one. Okay? Now, let's move directly to question number 5. So again, we have the same question with question number 4. However, the investment balance needed at year 4 is already after baby G withdrawn this 1 million for the house and 500,000 for the wedding fund. Well, this is automatically the answer, right? Now, again, if we will not rely on the timeline, the solution is basically the same with the solution that I presented in question number 4, except you will need to deduct from here the withdrawal of 1.5 million, this 500,000 and this 1 million for the house and the wedding fund. And we will get already 712,368, which is the same with this one. And that is letter E in the choices. So that's it for the 5 questions. And that's it also for this video. And I hope you learned. And if you did, please click like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell and select all to be updated on my next videos. Again, thank you for watching and see you on the next one.